I'm just gonna get some water.
Let's go!
Check.
Check. What's your mic level, Gus?
Good. How about me? Good.
Good.
I've tried 1,000 tries, and there may be other guys I'll never compromise. And now I realize there may be other guys I'll never compromise. I've tried 1,000 tries, and now I realize I've tried 1,000 tries, and there may be other guys I'll never compromise. And now I realize there may be other guys I'll never compromise. I've tried 1,000 tries, and now I realize.
Here comes everybody. I see you relax. Virgil Maxino. We have a hype train? Yeah.
How? Has that happened before?
Grace subscribe. Gus subscribe.
That's two.
I've tried 1,000 tries, and there may be other guys I'll never compromise. And now I realize there may be other guys I'll never compromise. I've tried 1,000 tries, and now I realize I've tried 1,000 tries, and there may
Hey, I
be other
lose.
guys I'll never compromise. And now I realize there may be other guys, there may be other guys, there may be other guys I'll never compromise. There may be other guys, there may be other guys, there may be other guys, and now I realize. I'll never compromise. Yo, I've tried 1,000 tries.
What up?
Welcome
Yeah.
back.
What's up? Hello, everybody.
Episode 3.
Let's go.
go.
Welcome, everybody, to the episode 3 of season 2 of The Guys Next Door. How's everybody doing today? It's a good Monday. We got a few viewers here already. Thanks for joining us. We got a good guest for today. And we're gonna talk about a lot of good stuff as always. But before we do that, how are you guys doing? How are you, Gus? How's your weekend?
Weekend was good. Went to a lunar festival here in town.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Was there dragon dancing or what do you call that?
What's
Dragon.
a
yeah, there were some dragon dragon dancer, I guess. I don't know. Or it's a dog. Wait, no. It's not a dragon. It's a dog. I think it's like a food
A
dog.
d- oh, okay. So is that to Chinatown? Is that to Chinatown?
No, not in Chinatown. Here in the baseball center here.
Oh, got you. Outside of that, that's just it. Just chilling.
Yeah, and then did some work yesterday. Like
Work overrated.
Work.
Yeah,
Work on the
uh,
show.
yeah. Work on the
yeah,
Work
show.
for the show.
We're gonna
yeah.
make you work today. How about you, DJ Pat? What's going on? How's your weekend?
Not bad, not bad. Actually, I want to ask you how you are because
Ah,
I'm pretty concerned about what happened Friday night, right? In
yeah. Well,
Philadelphia.
in
And I want to
Philadelphia.
check in if our family over there is doing okay and everyone's safe. Unfortunately, it's a tragic event, and I want to see how you are.
Oh, it's been. I'm good. I'm good. It's the weekend started with a plane crash in Philadelphia. If you guys have not heard, so there's a small plane that crashed near where we used to live. I would say 16 years ago. And if you look at the footage right now, you can see that it's like it's the plane crash is not a plane like crash landing. It's like a missile. Like the plane went straight into a middle of a shopping center and some row houses. It was
And you're
crazy.
familiar with that area.
I'm very familiar with the area. I used to shop there. And you know what's funny? So it happened around 6:15. And then around 6:30, I'm just, packing up from work. Bobby Perumo called me, said, "How are you doing?" Said, "I'm all good. What's up?" Said, "Oh, any plane crashing?" Well, I thought he was talking about the one in DC. What do you mean? There's a plane crash in Philadelphia. You serious? Yeah. Wow. And then look at the news, and it's crazy how this airplane there's a small airport near the area, so I think this plane is going back to Mexico. They rented it because of a fundraiser from a kid who just survived whatever illness he has. I don't know what it is. And then I don't know what happened. Some malfunction. It hit this middle. It's a smackdown middle of the road, very busy location too. Like you see strip malls, restaurants, and it's just crazy. If you see, some of the ring cams or video surveillance around the area, it's just like whoop, went straight
Uh,
down.
I did listen to the air traffic control communications, and everything was normal until they were being handed off to departure. Departure is a different, stage of the flight communication, so they're gonna be handed over to PHL, I believe.
Right.
And as soon as PHL tried to reach out to them, there was no response. So it's either they were panicking and trying to save the plane from stalling, or the crash had gone down. So it's a very unfortunate event, and really January was tough, man. I think there was 4 aviation mishaps during the month of January. So
Yeah.
prayers to all families and victims of these plane crashes.
Yeah, what's up, Gus? With all this number of aviation disaster in the past few weeks, right? Everything's falling from the sky. There's just another. I'm not sure if that's also recent. I saw one, some small plane again, two-man plane crashed in a highway in somewhere
Whoa.
in Arizona or Texas or something like that. Like crazy. Like what's going on, Gus? What's happening? What do you think's happening?
Does Gus have a theory?
No, I don't
Do you
have
have
a
any
theory on
conspiracy
this.
theory?
No, not on this one. No.
Oh
Remember,
my.
none of us are aviation experts. We are just basing off facts here. We don't throw
Mm,
lies here, but we throw facts, and this is what we
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's it. That's really my weekend. Outside of, I have another bad news. I can't drink alcohol anymore. Oh, well, not much, but I'm trying to limit my alcohol because of my, illness. Not illness, but more of like some condition. Like so, that
mm.
sucks though.
Well,
That
welcome to the
sucks.
club. Welcome to
That
the club.
sucks.
It's
I'm gonna say no alcohol suck. It's
well,
fucking suck.
Welcome to the club. Let's have some Canada Dry for our
Yeah.
God.
Canadian
See
brothers and
here.
sisters. There you
You
go.
drinking right now? Now you're gonna tease
No,
us
no,
with
no,
that?
no, no. This is regular Coke. So yep.
Okay.
Everyone's dry.
Oh, oh my God. Well, that's what happened to the guys next door of the weekend. So let's start the show. So again, welcome everybody. Episode 3, the guys next door, where the talk is cheap and the laughs are priceless. So let's go to our first segment. Before I introduce our guest, of course, we have to talk about NBHD week, right? We're gonna run to what happened during the week. Again, a lot of um, DJ, right? They played great music. But before we talk about this, right, I'm gonna show you the lineup, right? We got DJ Dr. Snappy, who actually just starting, and then they have their own group called the House Cats. They do Sunday Raid Train also, which Sunday. Same with it, that's fine. But we're gonna actually interview their group because there are a group of people who started Twitch also. It's like NBHD, they started. So I want to get them on the show one week so that we can see, how they started like us during that. So
Mm.
that's Dr. Snappy. We got the crazy Karma TV, always bounces around, great vibe. Tommy Smith figure, first time, brought in some really good house vibes. And then we got the back to back of the Salem family, the Salem Halloween Girls and DJ Big Daddy. They actually went back to back. Uh, Same camera. I don't know if they had the same computer, but Big Daddy is a computer engineer, so you probably figure it out. But always great to have them back. They're also OGs on NBHD. Then we got Liminal Faces. I'm not sure if you've seen Liminal Faces. He's the guy that streams with the mask on. He reminds me of Leonardo DiCaprio, about the man with the iron mask. But it's interesting,
Hmm.
if you see him, like, great vibes. Gus,
I
you
have
might
to
want to,
check him out.
you
Yeah.
might want to check it out. That's why I call him Liminal Face. Lim is a great vibe, also part of the High Vibes family. And then we got DJ Ruben Rockwell, always bring the vibes. A lot of great house music. And then we went to Grace Music, which actually she had a historic raid from Zeta. Thank you, Zeta, for actually raiding into Grace last night, and you made her cry. So it was a huge raid. So I was
Shout out to
surprised.
Zeta. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was surprised. I almost cried myself, like, OP my fans, because there's a lot of people last night there. And then we ended up with the caboose of DJ Nix in the mix. I actually DJ Nix in the mix also on another train. In NBHD, we try, if you want, to link two trains, if you're running a raid train on Sundays, let us know, because we're trying to kind of connect all the trains if possible, so that we can support all the communities. If we link them together, what we can do is, who's that? If we link them together, um, we can reach more people, know more people, and that's really the spirit of NBHD. So that's what is the NBHD over the weekend is. Great
Gus,
stuff,
was
great
that
stuff.
your idea, that flyer?
What
No,
flyer?
no, no, the Windows one. Yeah. No, no.
Yeah, just on the flyer, we're gonna show it to you again. So when I make the flyers every week, I'm running out of ideas, guys. So what we usually do is, I talk to sound musicians a lot and Grace, and then every time I make a flyer, I ask them, give me one word, give me a theme, challenge me to create a flyer and see what happens. Sound musician says Windows 95. I say, fuck, like, all right. So I don't know how to do it. So this is what I came up with. So I guess it worked. Some
It
people
did
like
work.
it. So this is, I'm going to Gus' point, I'm going to Windows 3.11 at some point, if anybody still knows that. But it's tough. So I went to a Windows 95 one, which is
I
more in the
like
90s.
I like the DOS, the MS DOS command window that you did there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the touch that made it fantastic.
Do you guys remember the days when we had to boot with a floppy disk with the DOS? I don't think kids understand that, right? But we're gonna talk about that later because I know our guest is on the IT side, and I believe she also has input on that type of stuff. During the 90s. It'll be great, to get him on this discussion, right? So,
Yeah.
without further ado, if you guys could put her on the on the stage, I'm just gonna introduce her. So she's a Friday night Twitch powerhouse, tech house connoisseur, an absolute learning and technology alchemist, that she says. Always leveling up whenever she's music, wherever she's in music, she's streaming, and every latest DJ tech. Starting her journey in Twitch 3 years ago, she's now taking her skills to some IRL gigs, as I heard, and living her best DJ life. And let's talk about the gear game, though, right? So we're gonna talk about the flexing of the gears that she has. So she's the only Twitch DJ aside from Grace that I know of rocking the ultra rare DDJ-1000 Off-White release model, and they cost a lot right now. And she just stepped it up with a CDJ-3000. So you probably see it on the background, on her background, a serious arsenal of someone who's all about pushing the limits of her craft. Everybody, please welcome Ilug to the show. Hey, Ilug, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? And it's true that DDJ-1000 is an investment. Like, it became an investment for sure. I'm never getting rid of it. Number one, because if I need to sell it for college tuition or whatever for my kid, I can.
I want to know how you snagged it. That day I knew it was released, and we were scrambling to get one for Grace. And tell me the story of how you got it.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
So I love the color orange. That's one of the things. And I was contemplating what kind of controller to get and everything else. And Subby187, who was a Twitch streamer, still is a Twitch streamer, also producer of music, IT professional as well, literally at 1 o'clock in the morning, because I'm a night owl, sends me this Instagram with the picture of the controller. And within 60 seconds, I was like, that is a sign from God. This is my controller. And I bought it. And that's what happened. And I ended up with it. And I'm so excited. It's every once in a while, it is nice to go out and see how much it's worth. You know what I mean? Out there. Mine is used, of course. It's not sitting in the box. But I love it. And I will never get rid of it.
It's still going up. I've been looking also. So did you get it the day it went out?
I believe the day that they announced it, I didn't even think about it. It was literally, the link came, I went to the site, it showed up. You know what I mean? It was not even a thought process. It was we had just been talking about orange headphones. I wanted to find orange headphones earlier in the evening. And then that came across and I'm like, that is the sign. That's the sign from the universe that I needed to buy that controller.
It's funny. That story is so similar. So actually, Grace, Sound Decision, I was working. I was logging in from work around in the morning. Sound Decision texted us about the Off-White. And then I was looking at it. We're trying to upgrade from a DDJ-200 and then looking for a thing, and then okay, let me. I mean, Grace didn't even know I bought it. Okay, I'm gonna buy it because I'm gonna sell it. I'm just gonna sell it because I know it's gonna up. But we got it. Actually, we did not open it until a month or so, because I was kind of, do I open this? Let it go up, or we use it? And then we said, well, let's use it. And then, and like I said, you're the only one that I've seen streaming with the same controller.
Yeah, we're twinsies totally on that. So I remember going into her stream for the first time, oh my God, I have the same controller. It's in the wild and everything else. But no, I love that controller. People have asked since I've upgraded to the CDJ-3000s, are you getting? I'm like, no, I'm not getting rid of it. I also have a Flex 4 because I listen to friends and I need something for the road kind of to go. But I know that controller the back of my hand, and it's fun color, right? It's my first one, and I'm never gonna get rid of it.
Everybody else has it on their box still, and dead
I
stop.
still have the box. The box is in.
Yeah, I did have the box too.
I
It's funny.
do.
Did somebody ask you on the stream? I'll be surprised. Somebody, is that a decal? No, it's not. Somebody
No,
asked us.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody
someone
said
was
the decal.
asking.
No,
Yeah.
it's not a decal. That's what it is. It's just crazy. Well, we'll talk about flexing the gear later, right? I've got Off-White CDJ-1000. We'll talk about it later. But I guess a lot of people want to know how you got started in Twitch. What made you jump into Twitch, and if you could tell us the story about it.
Yeah, I feel like I got to tell you like the origin story of it. So,
Sure. Yep.
Everybody's not going to believe me, but I actually turned double nickels later this year. So that controller I bought for my 50th birthday. It was during the pandemic, and that was part of the story. But I've always been somebody that loves house music. I was fortunate enough to be growing up in New York City as a teenager in the late 80s, early 90s, and going to clubs and all of the places, Limelight, the Palladium, the Tunnel, Webster
Nice.
Hall, all of that stuff. So I was fortunate to be able to experience all of that. So I've always loved that music. I also was a runner in high school and as an adult, and 126 beats per minute is my running pace. So I would always be looking for music that obviously would let me blast in the car and do all of those things. My love of that kind of music is kind of well known amongst my friends, though my bestest friend would always say that you love techno, and I have to explain to her that I really don't love techno. I love house.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story for the non-dance music EDM people to help them understand genres. But a friend of mine and a professional colleague of mine, flips me a song in the summer of 2019 called Drinky by Sophie Tucker. And
Nice.
I put them on my Bands in Town app. And I'm like, when they come through, I'll check them out. Well, in March of 2020, they started streaming every day during the pandemic. And I thought, here's a 30-minute dance party I can have every day, because they were going to stream as long as we were all in lockdown. And in my job, I was doing lots of Zooming, and I thought I can get up for half an hour and move my butt, right? This is the thing. And that led to a community online of Sophie Tucker. They're called the
Nice.
Freak Fam. And I think some of you are probably out there in chat right now are very familiar with that and everything else. But that group, we decided to actually, a bunch of us get together in person in May of 2021. So this is after my 50th birthday. But we got together, and DJ B Luke, I remember walking into this house party my first night that we were there for the weekend, and he's on the decks. He's on Subby-187's 1000, DDJ-1000. And I'm like, what are all, being a technologist, I'm like, what do all these buttons do? Explain to me these buttons and this software. Like, you're just curious. And I think his first reaction is like, don't touch anything. Do not touch anything. Don't touch anything. And then I think everybody knows Raven Robin.
Yep.
She's like, let her touch the sample pad. So I got to have a little fun with the sample pad and everything else. A couple days later, we were in Subby's Irwin's apartment, and I said to Brandon, no, show me. Like, I'm curious. Like, help me understand this. And we spent probably, 4 hours. He mixed from the right, I mixed from the left, or it
That's
could have been
awesome.
vice versa. I was mixing out of somebody else's complete music library that was organized in a different way, but I could see all of a sudden how you guys get into this zone. I was like, how are people doing 4-hour sets? That's insanity. I can see why, because you're in it and the flow.
Zone, yeah.
Chick Sent Me High talks about that state of flow. And another friend that was with us actually made a joke like, oh, you're gonna be a DJ. I'm like, no, I'm not. You're just, no, I'm not. Like, this was fun. I love the music, everything else. To DJ B Luke's credit, a couple of days later, and there's always people in your life that kind of nudge you to try and stretch a little bit. And he is that person for me, always kind of just pushing me a little bit further. And I work in education, so we can talk about learning theory. There's like this like zone where you kind of get pushed and stretched, where you can kind of reach a goal. It's gaming, like the Quest, right? They're just enough to get you to level up.
Yeah, yep.
And he said, I really think you should get a controller and learn how to mix. And I was like, here I am, right? I'm 50 years old. Like, you don't need to tell me this. Like, don't like try to charm me, all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's okay. And he's like, no. I could see how you were picking music and how you picked it up, that you should try this. And I'm like, really? Okay. And I trusted him, right? I trust his judgment and everything else. And shortly thereafter, a couple months later, I bought a controller once I figured out which one I wanted. That one obviously was speaking to me, the orange and white one. the Off-White DDJ-1000. And my journey on Twitch was, as an educator, we never talk about the learning process, right? Like out loud. Nobody is Diplo or James Hype or, Charlotte DeWitt overnight, right? They started somewhere.
Correct. Yep.
So I thought, well, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to mess up, at least if people know that I'm learning, maybe there's a little bit more grace that someone would give me while doing it. And that's really where it came from. I'm just going to get on Twitch and I'm going to show everybody that I'm learning out loud. And here I am 3.5 years later, definitely learning out loud. So that's that's how I got on Twitch and got started.
What's your first community? Who's their first community on Twitch?
Probably the Sophie Tucker group, because once Sophie Tucker moved to Twitch to stream, that's where we kind of built stuff. But I'm very familiar with online communities my entire life. So this is just another evolution of that being more video based versus text based versus, all the stuff. So,
and just curious, how did you learn about NBHD?
I don't know if there was somebody on your train that I was probably already following, or another Sophie Tucker freak fam. I can't remember the origin story.
Probably Grace.
It's probably Grace.
And where did you meet Grace?
I was trying to think of that before. Like, how did I run into this train? I think there was do you have Naked on there or Groove Kitty or those folks? So I'm pretty sure it's probably I came in to the community that way. Again, it's the Sophie Tucker freak fam origin story, right? Like we've just fanned out, and then you find people that like, your type of music, and you go find more people that like the type of music, and it just kind of echoes out from there.
I think if I remember correctly, somebody went to Grace's stream, saw the controller, and he said, iLug has the same one. Can't remember. She's a partner. She's not streaming anymore. God, she stopped streaming. Long hair. It's in the tip of my tongue. So said, and it said, great. He has the same controller as iLug has one. So I think that's where Grace went to your stream. You showed me, and then you said, okay, let's get Julia iLug on NBHD. I'm not sure, but that's something somewhere in that.
Yeah.
But that's great. So with all your journey in Twitch, after 3 years, what's the biggest lesson you learned about streaming on Twitch?
Biggest lesson, I think there's a consistency.
Okay.
I'll use that. So I think I've found success. I mean, aside from the community has been great. And the DJ community reminds me very much of where I kind of, in the space that I work in professionally, where it's very collaborative and everything else. Like, everybody's very supportive for the most part, 99% of everybody.
That's true. Yep.
You know what I mean? And they want to help and they want to connect you and everything else. But for me, I think my success on Twitch and everything else is when I look at my work schedule, Friday nights were the one night that I was home pretty consistently through a calendar year. And I thought, well, hell, I'm just going to show up and be a TV show basically on Friday nights. And it's stress release for me, right? I call it the decompression session. It's truly that. I am just trying to let go of everything that's going on, but it's consistency. And now to the point where not only my family knows, at 7:30 on Fridays, which is Pacific time, Julia's on oh, you can't pick me up from the airport. I can't do that flight because you're going to be online. To my family knowing that, to friends knowing that, to, getting texts are you having sound trouble? I don't see you on just yet, if at 7:32. So it is literally you become part of this people's lives. So I appreciate people showing up and doing all of that. And there's lots of people in my professional space that are watching my journey because it's sort of a departure from that. It's a very creative side of the work that I do day to day.
Yeah. Well, consistency, you said, how hard is it? I mean, all of you guys are streaming. I think that's a key aspect, but how hard is it to be consistent? I know you said you're Fridays. I know Grace is Wednesday, but we find it very hard because of work. How do you manage it? And even for the rest of you guys, yeah.
I commit to 90 minutes minimum. So even if I'm feeling, unless I have the flu or something, right, or I had COVID, I think one time where I couldn't get on, it's 90 minutes. Just do 90 minutes minimum. So just show up. I guess it's part of a practice, right? You have to get on and do it. And sometimes it just takes a little bit, and then you're in it. All of a sudden, I remember like, I don't feel very good. I'll do 90 minutes, and then I do a 5-hour stream because all of a sudden I got into a zone. I was feeling good, and then time disappears again, and it reminds me of why I love doing it. But I think it's a part of that too, is just showing. It's the commitment to show up. But again, I looked at my calendar. I had to look at my calendar to see what days I was consistently home to make that commitment. August is not a great month. So there's times it's almost like the month I take off, but because of Fridays. But otherwise, for the most part, I'm on Fridays. I make it work, and I try to be home to stream and do all the things.
It's a habit. It's
Yeah.
just like starting to exercise or changing your diet. And once you start the fun thing is anyone can be a broadcast person nowadays. Back in the day, it's TV. There's shows from Monday to Friday, and nobody else has shows. But any one of us can create content now and do live stuff from our phone or to a big setup. So Fridays are fun. One of the best days to
Friday's
stream
back,
at.
yeah. But you talk about content though. But so what do you guys do so that your content is? I know you guys stream music, right? What on your content, which is to your on your side, iLook is all basically tech house, right? How do you keep it fresh? What's your routine? Before you go online, do you select your tracks? You think about it. Tell us more about that.
I have to tell you, the administrative of DJing is such a under talked about topic.
Yes.
There's so much admin and housekeeping that you're doing on the back end just to deliver a set, right?
Correct.
It's amazing. I have always been a crate digger. Even when I wasn't a DJ, I follow music in commercials. I go down a rabbit hole. I like different genres. Actually, jazz is probably my first genre of music that I really love, which reminds me very much of house music in terms of the improv and how you can riff off of things, or a key instrument, right? And you can pull out and do that sort of stuff. But I love, and someone asked me this recently in my professional space, what's my favorite AI app? Because we talk about AI, and I work in K-12 education for those of you that are, we can talk a little bit about what I do in my day job, but I said, it's Spotify. It's the Spotify algorithm. I have it dialed in so well that I don't even want to open up my friends' links sometimes, because I'm like, you're going to mess up my thing if you give me some janky song that I don't really want to hear. It's helping me find stuff that I can dig in, and actually it's all over, but it's literally, I hear it everywhere, the music, and I try to grab things that just catch my attention. I mean, I remember one time I went down a rabbit hole to find a song on an underwear ad that was on YouTube that I wanted, right, to find out who that person was. And I just heard an interview with Jamie XX, because he's been having a fantastic tour recently, that he went into Beatport, started with the oldest song, and was clearing 3,000 tracks every week or something like that, trying to find stuff, right? Wow. But that's the dedication to that. I do everything by season. So it's every, I have winter 2025 right now. I just throw stuff in there. And then what I try to do is when I get a few minutes or hours or whatever, I try to catalog that as you go. I still have a lot. I feel like now that I'm taking this a lot more seriously than I was maybe a year and a half ago, I got to get better about those habits on the backside so that it'll save me some time, or use some AI empowered or integrating kind of software to kind of make it a lot faster. Use technology, right? For work smarter than harder, right?
I do have I have my take on this. We do have the same style, but it's evolving skill in terms of finding tracks. So back in the day, we'll do train spotting. Look over the decks of the DJ. What are they playing? Trying to get in there. You have to have good eyesight to be able to read those records. But now it's all over us, right? Because it's digital media, it's all over us. I don't do Spotify. I don't try to get my music there. That is too current, I believe. I do have a secret, but I'm not going to tell you where I get my tracks.
It's a secret.
But
come on, share it. Yeah.
Your ears have to be open all the time. Like what you were saying, even on YouTube, you could catch up on a ad and try to, I want to know what this track is. And it's you can Shazam it, but sometimes it's not gonna come out there. But you got to be active in finding your music. If you have a record pool, sure, yeah, that's great, but that's also a little bit current. So you gotta, there's a lot of, like you said, administrative behind the scenes stuff that you gotta do and accomplish before even stepping in the booth.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I think my age is the advantage here, though, is because
True,
I grew up with a lot of the house classics, right? Like that, I heard it in the club. Like I didn't hear it anywhere else. I
Time
heard
as
it
well,
there.
yeah.
And I am always listening for those types of things too. And then people doing remixes of them and whatnot. LimeWire, I was a big downloader of LimeWire in the back of the day, and I'm probably like outing myself there. And everything else, but and Usenet groups you could get stuff off of, and all of the things. But yeah, I mean, I love the old stuff. I love finding something that's a little eccentric sometimes. And like last night, I did a raid train last night, and I went all melodic, which is not my normal genre at all. And DJ B Luke will laugh at you because I'm not used to those big builds at all. I'm like, what is happening here? And I'm going to twiddle my thumbs for hours before that drop comes. But there are some good intersections where I should probably be going a little genre adjacent, right? So it's funny trying to explain music though, like dance music and EDM to non people that don't know the space very well, because everybody's like, oh, you're like a wedding DJ. I'm like, really? No, I'm really a club DJ. I don't play hip hop. I can't do that. I don't have any Taylor Swift. A friend asked me that. I'm like, I have no Taylor Swift remixes, nothing in my stuff. So.
The administration that you guys talk about, you guys go like in a zone when you're doing that admin stuff, it's like nobody else could bother because you are, looking for it. Because that's one of the time that I know that Grace is doing her admin, and I can't even get like 5 feet in. I guess like, say, don't get near me, because it's the preparation, right? I know there's a lot of other streamers that are just gonna wing it, but or do a pop-up and just play. I don't know, if that's even possible. I think they're still preparing for that, because you want to get into vibe, whether it's 2 hours and 5 hours, but 12 hours, sometimes it's hard to prepare for that. But I guess you're just going with the flow if that's happened, right?
But Rekordbox actually, this is the tech side of it, right? Rekordbox actually has a thing where if I'm really lazy and I'm just not inspired, I can throw on the mood related, right, out of a folder and tell it, and it'll tell me what to play next. And sometimes I just need that little bit of encouragement, or I'm just not thinking, I'm tired, you know what I mean? It's been a travel week or whatever, and that helps. No one knows, but I'm using it. Now it's different when I'm on the CDJs. That is a whole, for me to do this, which I bought these last September, that's a whole leveling up, right? That's really growing my DJ skills, because I have to rely on my instinct and knowing the music and everything else. I can't be lazy. You cannot be lazy on your on the CDJs. You cannot be lazy. You have to
be more prepared than ever. More prepared than ever before on CD.
It looks like you love your tech. So just curious, what do you? What I mean, can you tell us what do you do for for a living?
I can. So I have a long career in an area called educational technology. So if you work in the K-12 education space, I talk about technology for learning and that sort of thing. I used to do it at the university level, but then in 2003, I actually flipped over to the K-12 side, and I worked for the state of Washington for almost 18 years, doing ed tech stuff. And I am now, about 4 years ago, which is during the pandemic, I made this move too. I moved to a professional association. So like if you're a nurse or you're a firefighter, you might have a professional association that you're part of. I run an association for state level ed tech people, which is what I was before I joined the staff. So I've been with the organization actually 21 years, 4 years as staff, and I run that as the executive director, and I do a lot of policy and practice.
Nice.
And if you search my name out there, you'll find all the stuff about that. It's a pretty public space there as well. But I have to tell you a funny story. When I first started to DJ, I was very hush hush about it, because club DJing has this kind of connotation of it's like nightclubs, drugs, alcohol, all of the things.
A lot of drinking,
you know what I mean? Just shenanigans and and then they think of raves and they think of like no clothes and all of the stuff, right? So I was really struggling with balancing this public persona, right, of that. But then I realized I love it, right? It brings me so much joy that it's part of who I am. And if I don't talk about it, then it feel like you're cutting like your arm off or something like that. So I actually have been trying to marry the two things, where I got the privilege to do a keynote at a conference last May where I talked about, this is so nerdy, the National EdTech Plan, which is the top policy document in this country for EdTech. It was released in January of 2024. My organization helped lead the work on that for the U.S. Department of Education.
Nice.
I used that framework, though, of the digital divide, the design divide, and the use divide to talk about how IT directors in schools are like DJs for their schools, right? They set adoption, they set like the tempo, they set the vibe, they set playlists for what teachers can use. I mean, I used
That's
the
a
whole
nice
thing. And it was a hit. It was a hit. So I think there's a way to kind of talk to people. And a lot of IT people have a love of music, right? They're either musicians themselves, or they are like gung-ho about a certain genre of music and they can't get enough. And I think there's something that just speaks to that. And again, it's brought me a lot of joy. So much so that I've now, in real life, I've DJ'd a colleagues conference, and I have more conferences that I'm doing. I play more funky house there because I have to appeal to the audience.
Yep.
Because if I played tech house, I think they all like their brains would explode. But yeah, it was just it's been more of trying to be more authentic and being who I am, and this is part of who I am. And if people are going to judge me, they're going to judge me.
That's
the
great.
50-year-old in me.
That's good.
Yeah. So with your experience, right? With AI and the future of learning, what's your take though on how technology changed the way the students, in this past decade? What's your take there?
So my thing is, everybody, and I'm not even talking about AI like jobs, like the robot jobs that we talk about. Every single career pathway, right? Yeah. Auto mechanic, nurses, accountants, whatever. They all use technology. Farmers all use technology, right? So every single student needs some sort of digital literacy. Now we need AI literacy because you need to know how to run algorithmics, like you have to be thinking that way, and whatnot. And if we don't provide students, now this is me being like my work hat like on, if we don't provide students with those kind of safe and kind of engaging experiences in our schools, then we are failing our kids, period. Right? So it's no longer a nice to have, it's a must have. So we talk about, making sure that everybody has connectivity, not only at school, but in their communities, because they take those laptops, one-on-one laptops back and forth. I mean, we all figured this out during the pandemic, right? Kids are back in school. That's what we want. But they're going to take those computers home to do homework and, and do research and collaborate with their classmates and talk to their teachers. And if they don't have connectivity at home, then how are they going to keep up? So like, it's no longer a nice to have. It's a must have. Jobs are applied online. Farmers are using it in their combines, you know what I mean? To plot out fields, do all that kind of stuff. So I advocate for that. For me, it's about making sure that everybody has the opportunity to thrive.
Is there anything that this current administration is hindering your goals? And you don't have to answer that.
She will answer that.
What day is it? Day 10? Day 11?
Yeah. Let's go. There you go.
I don't even know. It feels like 6 months.
It's like last week. We're going to go back here to this discussion.
Tuesday last week was a very hard day when they talked about cutting off federal funding. The thing is, states, it's going to go. So we've done this before. This is not our first rodeo with this administration. We just have to keep very focused and make sure that nothing that you value that you won't struggle for, right? So we know that we want to have safe and secure and engaging learning environments for our kids. We're still going to work on that. We may reframe our conversations. You know what I mean? Workforce development is very top of mind, right? And again, it's career prep. We can make it that, or we can talk about other things, but it's just that there's a little shock and awe going on right now. And we're just trying to make sure we're focused on what we need to be focused on. Nothing I haven't seen before. So this is the good news. But again, I work in policy development. So I know some people are like, what? I'm like, someone once told me it's like watching grass grow, and that's what we're doing. So it's playing the long game. We don't have a Congress that's completely a slam dunk for the president, for the White House. So that will come in our favor. We have a lot of moderates, bipartisan support for things, and we're going to continue to work on that. So yeah, it looks like Infected Underground talked about threat of federal funding. It sucks though, because it's a lot of anxiety that we all don't need in general in our lives. But no, we're fighting the good fight for sure.
That's a very
Glad to hear that,
safe,
yeah.
very safe answer. I
Safe.
like it. We safe answer. That is safe compared to last week. But
Well, I mean,
Safe
there was
answer.
a Wall Street Journal article today about them. What is it? Shutting down the Department of Education. I just want to be very clear here too, and I can say this out loud. They can't do it without Congress.
yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
He may direct the soon-to-be Secretary of Education to come up with a plan, but you need Congress to shut it down. So it's going to be a little while before that happens. And the money is still going to go to states because we still have education law on the books. And again, that requires Congress to do some things. So it's just we're playing the long game, people. Hang in there with me.
Yeah, I think that's what Olga say. Hang in there, for everybody. This is a recurrent theme every week. We're just gonna segue to this, but just listen to this. I'm gonna reel it back to education only, right? So I look. I mean, with what do you think is the biggest, going back to AI? What do you think is the biggest misconception about using it in the classroom?
The biggest misconception. I think when it first came, so I'm going to talk about generative AI because AI is, there's other different things. So in August of 2023, all I talked about was Gen AI. I was like, can we just go back to school first and then we could talk about Gen AI some more? I think the biggest misconception is that it's going to replace people, that it's going to make, we were having lots of conversations about academic integrity and cheating, which to me, and I'm going to say this, I'm representing myself and not my organization, that learning is always about the process. It's not about the end product. So whatever AI spits out as the report is going to spit out the report, right? But I want to know how a student actually, what they asked. Did they go down it's almost like our music. Did they go down a rabbit hole? Did they do some verification? How did they arrive there? That's the assessment that we want kids to have skills at, right? And it doesn't matter what the end product is going to be. So
no, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I mean,
that's going to be the hard part, is trying to shift how, because that's is a longer process, and we are very driven by instant gratification. We want to grade up. And sometimes parents are like this, they want the grade up tomorrow, and a teacher still has to grade it. But if you talk about grading on the process versus the end result, it's going to take longer.
Absolutely. Because for me, on my take is a lot of people are there's the fear of AI, of what it will do. But for me, I'm more excited about the application of it, right? Because there's so much stuff you can do other than fear of, oh, we're going to be replaced by robots. Teachers are not useful anymore. No, that's not it, because you still need those to guide it, right? Because, hey, I work on the IT also. AI is as good as what you collected as far as information, and you need people to collect to that. Even to your point, like this AI generated essays, right? Should the school ban them? I think they should embrace them, because to your point, even before that student got that student actually provided with the parameters of what it should be. That itself is good, because it's similar to I have developers or coders that work for me. Like, I'm okay if you generate that, because that's just gonna make you more efficient and faster. But you're still gonna teach that AI to generate for you, and that itself is, to your point, is what at least for the student, that's what they're learning, right?
But it also frees us up to be more human and be more creative, right? So if I can automate processes, or I need to still know that AI is giving me good information. So there's a critical thinking aspect that definitely has to take place. But again, it goes back to, I don't want AI to give me more times to do the dishes, right? I want AI to give me more time to mix, right? Or AI
not to be lazy, right?
I want AI to cook dinner for me, right? So that I have more time to do something else. So I think we're trying to get there where it can just save us more time, so we can be more human and be more creative, and the jobs where connection is important. I said this during the pandemic, right? Because I was working at the Department of Ed here in Washington State during the pandemic, right? In ed tech, where we also wanted to get shirts that said "I told you so" because we already knew that there wasn't going to be enough devices and all that good stuff. But it was really about no one missed the bell schedule or chem lab during the pandemic, right? At schools, they miss community and they miss ritual.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us human, right? So how do we then have you use technology so that you can be the best hairdresser that you can be, right? That you can run the business in the background, or you're a farmer, you can plot your stuff out a lot faster, and maybe you can spend a little less time on the fields and you can be home with your family, back at the house or whatever. So I think it's just, it can make us more human, more creative.
With all of this though, do you think all the teachers need to change their approach to teaching, like with technology, with AI? What and if they do, what it should be?
I think we're at a place where teachers can no longer poo-poo technology. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I think teachers said, well, I'm just going to shut the door and not use it. I don't think that they have that luxury anymore. There's some instances where they need to know their students. If a student can dance choreograph like DNA binding, by all means, let the kid do that, right? He's going to express himself and demonstrate that he understands a concept, right? But technology needs to be part of that. And I'm not even talking about like equity issues district to district. I'm talking about in the same building. So my last name starts with F. My kid has to take biology 101 in high school. Mrs. Smith over here is using technology. Mrs. Johnson isn't. And because my kid's last name is F and she gets put into Mrs. Johnson's class, how is that equitable, right? Like, how is that going to help prepare my kid if Mrs. Johnson really isn't using technology or having technology experiences or making them put their computers away and do whatever? And there's got to be a balance, right? There's got to be intention and people being mindful. But it's inequities in school. So as teachers, they need to be embracing it. They don't need to be like the tech expert and everything else, but they need to understand what instructional strategies can use technology to actually bring learning to life. And kids are collaborating on ideas and projects and communicating and developing those critical thinking skills and knowing how to verify information and all that kind of stuff. So as you can tell, I'm very passionate about that. Like, I love mixing, but I also love.
I just one thing about this teacher. So let's say Mrs. Somebody is a old school teacher, doesn't like tech. What advice you're gonna give to that teacher, and how would you change how hesitant that teacher about using tech? What would you say?
What would I say to that teacher? It's like, start small. You don't need to know it all overnight. James Hype actually talks about this on the DJ thing. I use a clip from him that says, you could go to YouTube, and learn stuff. You can ask your colleagues. We talk a lot about professional learning communities in schools. Are there things that your school district could be doing, or your school building principal, for pulling teachers together? If the goal is to teach math concepts, can teachers professionally, peer-to-peer, share what they're doing, right? And how they're using technology to kind of maybe explain those concepts and things like that. And we won't get into all the things, but I think as a teacher, you can't not use it anymore. You can't use it as an excuse, like, oh, well, whatever. Good teachers are good teachers, right? They are, by all means. But the idea is that we have to embrace the world. And people talk about the digital world. I'm like, no, this is the world we live in. It's a modern world. Our system needs to be modernized. Everybody thinks about that 1950s classroom, and that's not what we live in anymore. So we have to modernize our system, and teachers
are so behind.
Yeah.
I mean, well, imagine, right? We're all sort of at the same age. I'm not gonna say what age or that, but I'm gonna say though, Julia, you look great for your age.
Thank you.
We didn't really, that was good. That was really good. But we started from somewhere, right? Even before we talked about a while ago about floppy disk booting off a computer, right? So why can't you learn something right now? Like, it's as fast as the computers that we have right now. Because before, you guys remember the time when just to boot up a computer, you have to like put that floppy disk and then put a DOS and then wait for like 5 minutes just to boot up. And there's no Windows at that point, right? It's all like green and white matrices, right? But how?
Gamma.
Gamma. See,
Gamma green.
you get. I used to work in dumb terminals before. Like they don't even if my kid sees that, I don't think they will even know if that's a computer because it's like it's not a QWERTY keyboard. It's just different all over. But it looks like you're very passionate of your job, and I heard now you're doing a lot of IRL gigs. Is that through your job or through somebody else's conference? And how is that? Is that it looks fun?
It's been a lot of fun. I think people are seeing how much, like, again, it's being authentic, right? Being authentically you, and it brings me so much joy. So how can I not talk about it, right? And everything else. And now I'm also known for when we go to conferences, we have side quests. So whether it be a Gorgon City show the night before I have a board meeting and a conference starting, or a baseball game or whatever, we do side quests, as we call them. And people come along for the journey and the adventure and everything else. So I had a dumb terminal. I was going to say I had a dumb terminal back in the day and everything. I actually have an IP address tattooed on my body. I'm telling
Seriously,
secrets. I do.
Yeah.
And anybody can, I mean, all the nerds out there will guess what it is. It's version 4, of course. I still have to get version 6 tattooed, but I do have.
Oh, I probably know what that IP address is now. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Conferences. How do you DJ in a conference? Is that
so?
Yeah.
Welcoming people into the room. So again, music plays such an energy, right? So last year I was at a colleagues conference in Miami, which I was also attending and actually doing sessions. So
probably
it wasn't
Orlando,
just,
right? Probably
Orlando. That was no Miami. It was Miami.
Oh,
and
Miami,
I would do the 30 minutes of music as people were coming into the main sessions, and I was also emceeing. So I, was introducing people and running. It was a run of show, just like you would do professionally. And then they have an auction. And I DJ their auction. And even before we left Miami, I've already been booked for the next conference here in Seattle in the spring. So I'm already working on that and everything else. And I've given away virtual sets, but then I had one of our member organizations actually fly me into Oklahoma City, and I did a staff party for them. They won the auction, and then they paid for me to come in.
That's great.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So just that kind of fun.
You still play Tech House for conference?
No, I go more funky house with them. Again, I think it's just the target audience. So if it's K-12 ed tech, no offense to the white dudes out there, but it's like middle-aged white dude, funky house. They recognize the song, but I always said I'm not playing the original. I'm playing the remixes.
Still housey.
Play what I like.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And we have a good time. So Miami was more of that club sound, you know what I mean? Kind of, and also Cuban and Caribbean kind of stuff. Seattle's going to be more jazzy because we have huge Kenny G's from Seattle, if people didn't know that, and whatnot. But I also think I'm going to go more Deza because, maybe a little bit in that room because they're from Bellingham, Washington. I'm trying to get inspiration from where the conference is, kind of give people a little bit more of a flavor of the music that's out there.
Yeah, genre could cross right now. Beyonce just won best country, so what's country, what's what's not, right? It's interesting, but it looks really fun to do that because I've been in conference. Do you actually on conference when you do a DJ? Do you actually have your giveaways also? The thing.
No, I should say in Miami they rented the equipment for me. That was the nice thing. Like I didn't have to tackle with anything. Seattle, I'll bring up my 1000 just because I know it like the back of my hand. I thought about bringing the 3000s, but then I don't want to have to keep track of where that stuff is. I'm always I'm very protective of my gear. I don't want it to disappear.
You need a crew for that.
Just give you my rider. Here's the list. You get me this.
I have flight cases for them, so I'm prepared if I need to be, but and everything else. But no, and then I've gotten this year, people are like, you should come out and DJ for our conference. So I think that there's just this. It's the energy that you bring, right? So I think that people are realizing, and then there's a few people that have gotten controllers because I've inspired them to kind of pick it up.
Good.
So who knows? They might be DJing soon. So
I think that's fun because I know one SAP conference. I think what my sister-in-law went there. They saw Chris Cut playing in Vegas. If you've been, I think Vegas will be fun too if you do those conferences.
If I ever do that, yeah. DJ Pat Attack, who's a DJ out of Seattle, he does DEF CON. He's a IT securities cybersecurity guy. So he's been there. And actually, a conference that's happening in April, for 2 years in a row, they've had DMC from Run DMC do their party, right? Like we have after parties, if you want to call it that, after the day's sessions, they have parties. And the opener, I was always like, well, why don't you just have me DJ? And this year I was like, they said, hey, I have to talk to you about doing that. I'm like, I might have gotten myself an opener position in front of all my colleagues. Again, it was a little bit, I was very afraid of doing that in the beginning, but now I'm like, I'm just doing this. Like, what? This is who I am. And people know me as the executive director that DJs on the side, I guess. And, and some people show up in my stream that are work colleagues and everything else. So it is what it is.
I got to ask everybody, all the DJs here, right? Dream setup, right? Money's not an object. What's going to be your ultimate DJ setup will look like? And everybody on the chat too, like, put it in there. What will it be? I'm going to go around this group here. I'm going to start with you, Julia. Dream setup.
Well, I think I have it. I think I
okay, yeah.
I have only 2 CDJs because I don't know. I haven't gotten, I can play 3 channels. I have not gotten confident with 4 yet. 2 is enough though for that setup. I don't know. It's a learning curve though. I have to tell you, it's definitely, you can get on there and I'm comfortable. It's just that I still feel very slow on it. So it's just trying to learn all of it and everything else. But that's the setup. I want to be a club DJ. So
nice.
I want to go in there and plug in and be able to know that I know how to do it.
Plug your USB. How about you, Gus? What's your dream setup?
Me?
If you're gonna pay, money's no object, right? You're gonna go whether it's a club, whatever gig it is.
I guess I'll get the DDJ-1000, but I'm more into the subs and speakers, right? So I'd rather spend my money there than the controller. I'll probably get a good PA mixer. But
that's a sound decisions. What's yours?
Yeah, Gus is funny. Well, all our gigs are together. Okay, so if I'm gonna manage the gig, you said money is no object, right?
No, money is no object.
We're gonna go all out. Gus will pick the sound system that he wants. Maybe we can play in Pacha Ibiza, so that it's all taken care of. We're gonna hire Christopher Jackson for our lights, and then we're gonna hire a video guy to program Nusuko type mo on the screen, I guess. Or
there you go.
Yeah,
and have that program. Obviously the booth would be. I like the Nexus 2000 better than the 3000, so I might go with that. 4 decks.
Are you like James hyping on
the 900 maybe for the basic Pioneer stuff? It doesn't really matter. 4 decks, 2 decks, it's fine. But the lights has to be fantastic. The sound has to be great, and then we're all set. And the rider would always include drinks, no alcohol, and food, and
me.
That
you have to have me there.
You're there too.
Wait, Alok, you also DJ at Burning Man?
Yeah, so I was there during the mud. In my first Burning Man was in 2023. Raven Robin and I, she inherited a camp, and I am a project manager, I think, by just nature. So she's the dreamer, and I'm the person that makes it come alive. We DJ'd there, along with karaoke. We did karaoke as our offering. We're going back this year in 2025. We're doing Karaoke Cafe. We'll do that a couple of times. I'm hoping that I can get out in an art car and maybe DJ. I'll bring USBs for sure.
Nice.
And that sort of thing, just to get that kind of checked off and everything else. I love Burning Man, one, because again, talking about community, it literally is a pop-up community, right? Like it comes together and it will never be the same every year and whatnot. And it's just fun to kind of explore, and I lose track of time, and because of the job that I have, it can be pretty stressful at times. It's nice to be off the grid where no one can get a hold of me unless absolutely necessary. Like something like there's ways to get messages to you when you're out in the playa, But I hope that no one ever in my family or my friends has to utilize that. But
Oh, no.
it's a great time. It really is. You lose sense of time. It's fun when
Different
like
planet.
you're planning. I'm sorry, what?
It's like a different planet.
It's so surreal because everybody's like, well, if you need a brain break, just go to a hotel in Mexico and turn off the Wi-Fi. And I'm like, not the same. I spend 60 plus days a year in hotels. They all look the same to me. Like
Oh, yeah,
Burning
you
Man
get
is so
tired of those.
surreal.
This
It's so surreal that your brain goes, what is happening here? You know what I mean? And there's a little element of having to take care of yourself too and living in the moment.
This is the third straight week that we're talking about Burning Man. Oh, that's a sign.
If you guys want to go,
Everybody's talking
go.
about it. Yeah, I think this is a sign that we
putting
should
our
go.
camp together. So
And
we're
we know
small
somebody's going, so I think this is a sign. I think we should go.
It's a sign. We should DJ there too, and
Yeah, I just
Gus will bring all the costumes and stuff, and we'll be all set.
all we need is just an RV, right? That's it.
Yeah, I was in an RV. I glamp. I am not. After my 30s, I stopped camping on the ground. That was really
has to have an RV. That's a requirement from Grace, or no, it has to have an RV. Oh, yeah, Burning Man is calling us, guys. Amazing.
Maybe it's time.
Yep. So yeah, obviously, on Twitch, there's still this thing about the female on the DJ scene in Twitch. What could you say about that? I know we are in the right community, but are still certain communities they think that bedroom DJ, just learning. Well, I know you said you be yourself. But what can you say about that?
I don't know. I think the IT industry prepared me for the DJ industry in some way.
That's true. Okay.
There's still some ick. I will say that. There's still some moments where you think that it's going to go one way, and then you're like, oh man, like there's a little disappointment. Like God, like it's for the wrong reasons. The attention. But for the most part, I want to say it's like any other male-dominated industry where you feel like you almost have to like dance backwards in heels just to prove yourself that you're just as good as the guys and everything else. I do think that it's easier now on this platform. One of the things we didn't talk about before is the barrier to entry to do this, run your own TV show, DJ, is way different than it was 20 years ago. If I decided I wanted to be a DJ, right? Like loving New York house music, I would have had to invest, $20,000, $30,000, know the right
networking.
people.
Yep, exactly.
Now you can get a controller for what, $300, a Twitch account, and you're out and you're on and you can do your thing, right? So and for us in schools, think about that. The barrier to entry is so much lower. We could give kids those experiences, right? To explore all of this. But as a woman in here, I love the fact that like you guys do it. You have all female, raids, trains, things like that. That helps get it out there. I think where I'm going with my kind of, I guess, brand and everything else is it's never too late to learn. Like that's really what it is. Here I am, I hit my 50th birthday and now I'm a DJ, right? Like it just still blows my mind, this whole thing, but you can do it, right? And I can do it. And I don't need to wear skimpy little tops and everything else because I don't think anybody necessarily wants to see all of that. But hopefully it's my skill, right? That
it helped Gus. It helped Gus though.
So I think that everybody has a place, right? And it's just finding your community and growing your community. And I think that when you look at now, like for festivals, when they're looking for smaller acts, they're looking for whether or not you'll bring your community with you. So I think Twitch is a great platform for that. There's other platforms as well to keep growing your own community, and people will love you and support you along your journey. But it's just like any other male-dominated thing. You get some creepers, you know what I mean, and you just learn how to kind of navigate through.
I'm gonna say, I gotta say though, the DJ, the female Twitch DJ community, the sisterhood and support is amazing. Shout out to all the amazing female DJs out there. That we encounter, right? Just the collaboration and it's just the helping of other new female DJs is actually pretty good that I've seen, right? We got we got some big rates, at least on Grace's stream, where partner DJs, female DJs rated us. We don't know them much, just I think the way they're reaching out is they're looking to elevate, that community, all the lady DJs in Twitch, and help supporting them. So to your point, and we talk about this also on one of the show, that in Twitch, 98% are really good people. You still have those 2%, that but it's great that about this community. Everybody's helping each other out.
Yeah, and there's actually some female like focused support out there too. There's Femhouse, which LPGOB put together. So if you are, a female or female identifying DJ, please check out Femhouse. They have free workshops on how to mix and how to produce and all of that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I know also out of New York, and I think they're spreading to other cities, there's women's support women DJs. They're also newer and just trying to find spaces for in real life kind of gigs, not just streaming and whatnot, but getting to be more producers as well, not only people that mix.
It's really great to hear you balance, your Twitch and your real world, journey or adventures. It's nice to hear, all of those things that you have done in Twitch, and then you're also venturing out of Twitch, to bringing it back. So great to tell that story. But I want to kind of switch our show now to our next segment called Beyond the Neighborhood, wherein we want to have you part of the discussion of what's happening outside of Twitch. These are fun content that DJ Pat brought in so that we can discuss, and we want your point of view. There's going to be sports, there's going to be hopefully politics. I really love politics talk. It gets spicy, and whatever's under the sun. So DJ Pat, why don't you kick us off for Beyond the Neighborhood as I run down the reel. Let's go, DJ Pat.
This is one of the biggest self-inflicted wounds in modern sports history. So it is the most shocking transaction of my life. It is the biggest NBA trade in 50 years. The only two trades that were bigger was Kareem to the Lakers. He forced their hand. He was like, I don't want to be in Milwaukee. I can't be here. And he then, with the Lakers, won 3 more league MVPs and won 5 championships. The only self-inflicted thing close to this is the San Francisco Warriors trading Wilt Chamberlain, and he then immediately ripped off 3 straight MVPs and won a title a couple years later. That's the only thing close to what we're seeing. There are only 4 active players with as many first-team All-NBAs as Luka. He has more first-team All-NBAs than Steph Curry. He has more first-team All-NBAs than Nikola Jokic. He is 5 times in a row coming off his best year. He won the scoring title, was first-team All-NBA. They made the finals. And I understand the guy likes sweet tea and Bud Light, but give me a break. Is he a good defender? Obviously not. But the Mavs, after the deadline last year when they got their team, were the number 8 defense. The Mavs in the NBA Finals, which they lost, they actually, especially now that we see what the Celtics are offensively, their defense is not why they lost that series. They lost that series because they couldn't score. Is Luka a perfect player? No. Is he one of the 3 best players in the sport? I believe yes. And he's 25 and he didn't want to leave. He didn't force their hand. And they're saying we were nervous about giving him the Supermax. If he's not worth the Supermax, no one in the league is.
All right. So obviously we're passionate about that. I know, Ayalog, you're a baseball fan. We're going to ship it out now in basketball. What's the Seattle's team right now in NBA? It should be the Supersonics. What is the Seattle right now? We don't have it. We don't have it anymore.
Rumors. There's rumors that there will be a Seattle team and the Sonics will be back.
So, First of all, I hate that guy too, just because he's an anti-Eagles fan. I hate listening to him, but
Yeah, I don't want to
uh,
watch it.
I
Hold on,
do.
hold on. He he's one of the most hated sports analysts out there.
Oh,
And
is
he's a
he?
Chiefs
Okay, that's
fan,
good.
right? He's a Chiefs fan. He's also a LeBron fan.
Oh, I
But
hate him already.
his take about the trade of Luka Doncic to the Lakers was very real. It's very
Mm,
accurate. Uh, I woke up yesterday, checked phone obviously, and as groggy as you are on Sunday morning, you see this news and you just put it aside. Which Luca are you talking about? And then you have to
yeah,
verify, and you find out it's real that he was traded to the Lakers. And like Nick Wright said, it's got to be the dumbest trade ever
The,
executed by a
the,
professional team.
the only person that's happy right now is Boy G in the chat for that because he went to the
Laker
Lakers.
boy, Laker
Yeah,
boy.
but I don't understand it. And Julia, as a baseball fan, so imagine this: the Mariners, right? They have their star player, their franchise player. Lucas averaging 36, 9, 10 on playoffs, right? When they made the run. So you're a Mariners fan. You have your franchise player, and you're gonna trade that guy at the age of 25.
But you're talking about the Mariners. They would do that. So that is a bad team to actually
All
use
right,
as an
no
example.
love.
They would trade away their best players because that's what they do every year, and that's why they have not won a World
Uh,
Series.
Well,
Oh
imagine
man,
that. That's what the Dallas Mavericks basically did, right?
yeah.
I don't know I get the all defense stuff, getting Anthony Davis as a trade. Yeah, but what are you getting at that point? Anthony Davis probably only have what 2 or
Injury.
3 years
Yeah.
left because of his injuries. Then
the
I
Lakers
know,
get the Lakers get Luca. They get Maxi
and then
Kleber. They get Markieff Morris, who's a
also old.
serviceable player.
It's
The
also old.
Mavericks, the Mavericks get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first round draft pick in 2029.
They're gonna
And
tank. They're
the
gonna tank
Jazz
their season.
receive. They're not going to tank their season. The purpose of this trade was they're going to go for it. They have a center. They have a couple of centers. They have Kyrie who's playing well again, and they have Clay. So I think they're going for it. I think the Mavericks know something that we don't. They know something about Luka, and besides the super max contract that they probably want to avoid, they know something,
Mhm.
and it's got to be related to his fitness, his health, his longevity, a lot.
Yeah, I
Embiid.
get that. He's fat.
So maybe that's they know something we don't, and
Probably. I
the
hope
only
so.
thing is the Lakers always get favorable trades when it comes to generational talent. They got Kareem, they got Magic, they got Kobe, they got
Yeah.
LeBron. They get the best all the time. It's like automatic, and
Yeah,
I
I
don't
tell
know.
you, Boy G's laughing right now.
Boy G says they want to move to Vegas, so I haven't heard of that news. Boy G, if you have more details, you can guest in the show right now. We can put you on, or you can type it on the chat. But this is mind-boggling for everyone. Was shocked.
Well, I think that's the for I look. I know that's probably the longest NBA talk you had with a few people, but with this voice, right? You're
Very
just
true.
passionate about it, like everybody hated. But yeah, good luck, Luca. Good luck, Anthony Davis. On that one. What's next? J-Pap?
What's next? Let's go.
Hopefully, it's baseball.
I think not baseball. Let's move away from sports. The necktie is back.
The necktie.
That tie that you wear at work, that you used to wear, the guys, is
Yeah.
back.
Mm.
Oh, that's a new fit right now.
Is this like a Korean thing?
That's
Wait,
What's going
actually
on here?
what is this?
everyone's wearing a tie now.
What country is this? Don't tell me this is the Philippines, dude. It's not the Philippines, right?
What
So
the
Philippines.
Gen Z
fuck is
fashion is
going
all
on?
about Gen Z fashion is all about blending
No.
comfort. You want to be individual, and it's a little bit of retro too going on. Baggy pants are back, and that's a
This
statement
feels like
thing. They're
kind of music it has gone too far. It was the headscarves, and now they're wearing the neckties, and it's just a little. It's gone. It's gone. I mean,
That's just yeah.
I get they're bringing back, the baggy pants, right? You can rock that, but have you seen those neckties? That guy has his necktie all the way down to his knees or toes, even, right?
And the
He forgot. He
sunglasses.
forgot to count. You have to count.
Yeah.
So
You have
The
to do the
sunglasses
loop,
are
right?
the early 2000, and they mixing up early 2000 with the 90s, plus the
Yeah.
necktie. So
but I'm
They-
thinking all those neckties are probably in thrift stores because no one
They
wears
are.
neckties
Yeah.
anymore, and
Yeah.
that's why
Oh,
they're
I
bringing them back.
a lot of generation right now loves thrifting, but that's where they find, the cool stuff right now.
that's
For some
exactly
reason.
what it is. This generation is done with fast fashion. They're done with brand names and stores. They'd go to the thrift stores. It's all over the universities too. Like the fashion, this kind of fashion is back where they wear that necktie, they wear the loafers, the baggy stuff,
They're
headgear.
digging in their boomer grandparents' closets for
They
stuff. that
are. They
not
are.
left their house yet because the boomers aren't getting rid of anything.
Oh, let's talk about boomers. Yeah, but
I'm not a boomer. I'm a Gen Xer, by the way. Let's make sure
we
that
all,
we get that
we're
straight.
all
I
Gen
think
X
all
here.
four of us are, which
All
we're
Gen
safe because we're the
But-
generation that experienced all of it, that's
Yeah.
seen all of it.
yeah,
We've
like
seen the ties.
Well,
We've
it's
done
funny.
it.
It's funny. Julia said about not getting rid of stuff, right? I mean, for the boomers, everything is freaking sentimental. Oh, my this gave that, so I'm not gonna throw it away. Although I'm not using it, it's just crazy. How about your
Did you
kids,
notice?
though? Yeah, go ahead.
Did you notice everyone has? Well, the guys have purses too. So
See,
skirts,
the
but
problem is
purses.
like it's hot in the Philippines, so it's like wearing those things, and you'll be sweaty.
Sweaty,
Yeah, but
sticky.
They're all wearing jeans, though, some version of jeans. So
yeah,
it's
you,
still,
you get
still
you guys
there.
you guys got kids, right? So what's the weirdest? Well, not weirdest, but what's like a fashion that you see your kids are wearing? Like, I don't know if you're wearing that.
It's the mom jeans for me. Like, I don't understand why they would bring those back at all. I mean, I like high-waisted stuff just because I'm short-waisted and it makes sense, but it's the mom jeans. Like, it's like, seriously, this does nothing for your butt. It makes you look like it's horrible. Like, stop doing the mom jeans.
Is the mom jeans the one that is like so? That's a high waist then,
Like
right?
high-waisted, like the white,
Baggy, straight, cut
yeah,
straight.
straight, and the kind of like the light blue wash and everything else.
Mm.
It's I mean, just look at SNL skits about the mom stuff, and then you would not wear them ever again.
Even the shoes right now. I'm actually guilty of the shoes because I'm a big shoe guy. I know Gus is. Even like the old shoes that I threw out a few of those pair, donated those in like Goodwill, like, and then oh shoot, I should have not thrown that because it's back in fashion. Like even like your blazers, your coats that you used to like. I hate this because it's too big on me. I threw those all the way, and now and my kids are looking for them. It's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
My kid's into all the rock tees. Like I think it was yesterday or the day before, she was out with a Nirvana, and I'm like,
Uh.
you weren't like, no, you were
These are
not.
these are all. Everyone wore these stuff. It's just
Which Nirvana? I'm curious. Which Nirvana?
I think it was a Nevermind shirt. Like she probably picked up at H&M or something. You know what I mean? Or it could have been her father's. I don't know, but it's just funny to see. It's very 90s. Like she's very much into Doc Martens. Not a Vans kid, which I'm a little crushed about. She's a Converse kid, but she's definitely rocking it. I like the fact that they're mixing stuff. I mean, again, it's being creative and being still who you are and expressing yourself. Whereas like I felt like when I was growing up, you had to wear certain things, you know what I mean, in order to
do you have
things.
Do you have that strict parents that always like, before you go to school, check, what are you wearing? Do you have that type of parent?
No, I don't know if I grew up in my mom was pretty strict when I was growing up. I'm a first gen on my mom's side in this country, like, you know what I mean? So she had these ideas from Europe and, like I remember wearing these ugly, what were they? Brown shoe, but they wore them all in England when she grew up. And I'm like, this is horrible. Like Hush Puppies or whatever they were. I'm like, this is horrible. You're sending me with these crazy shoes.
They're just the wooden ones, right?
Yeah,
No,
like the
no, no, it's
brown
like
and the
a
brown.
it's
Ugh, it's
it's like
just
a moccasin. We call it
it was
moccasin,
like a
no?
tie-up
The
shoe, but it
yeah,
was like
yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was
Or
like
it's not a Mary Jane though, right?
That can
it's
come
not a
back.
Mary Jane at all. I love penny loafers because I growing up, of course, in the 80s,
Yeah.
penny loafers and having that
Definitely a
kind of preppy
classic.
look
Yeah.
and everything else. But yeah, no. No, my kid is pretty. I was very happy though that her homecoming dress went all the way to the ground because there's that sort of hoochie mama dress thing that was going on for a while there that's still out there. I was just
That's
happy that
too
she
much.
Hoochie mama. Well, define
Yeah,
what's
that's
a
too much.
hoochie mama dress. You know.
where I can see everything if you bend over. It pretty much is the
Okay.
hoochie mama dress.
Put it on
I
the
did it.
poll, boy G.
Yeah,
Do you know what Poochie Mama is? Put that on the poll on Twitch, please.
because I didn't know. Like for homecoming, you have to wear short dress, and then for the other one, you wear the long. For prom, I guess you don't wear short. You
Her
Is that
homecoming dress was long to the floor. She wore Doc Martens, so she's smart. Which I love
okay.
about. I have to tell you this about clubbing. Back in the day, you had to be dressed in the club. Like you could not. Though I did a couple of clubs, I could wear like Doc Martens and still be kind of dressed.
Yeah.
But now I can go in my Vans. I could be wearing sweatpants if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
No one cares, and I
Yeah.
love
T-shirt
that.
for the boys.
I
T-shirt,
love
white
that.
T-shirt,
So,
you're fine. It's different.
Yeah, the clubbing right now is totally different. You know, it's just the vibe. Like you
Can we
know.
can we show our background again? Is there a way to show the background? Can you see through the background? Right there.
Yeah.
That is fashion from last night.
What
Yeah.
is that?
Well. Yeah.
But that's Wilson.
Is that
Yeah.
Will
it's
Smith's
Jaden
son?
Smith.
That's
Isn't
Jaden.
that
That's
Jaden
Jaden
Smith?
Smith.
Yeah.
He's wearing a $4,600 castle on his head.
$4,600 castle. I mean, where do you even buy that?
It's
You
hot
got custom made?
couture. It's just it's
Just-
high fashion.
High
Well,
fashion. There you go.
Yeah, well, I saw actually Virgil said it because Grace and I are talking about Kanye Vibe's dress. I'm not even sure if there's a dress there. When you guys
She was wearing a sheer outfit. I don't know. I guess the discussion is going to be where's the line? You know what I mean? Where is the line that
about
we're going to be?
They always break the line.
Well,
Those
that's the point of fashion and art and music and everything else, right? We're pushing the boundaries, but where is a line? You know what I mean? But we also, as a country, are pretty uptight, so
Yeah.
I think that plays into it as well.
all right. Anything else, DJ Pat?
Nothing more, but yeah, just the kids also listen to old stuff. Just that's what I noticed, which is great.
Yeah, when they
Plus it-
say that
you know.
a Nirvana song is classic, like shoot, like, and I feel old when they say that. Oh, that's classic.
It's
You are-
35 years ago, so it is
Right.
classic.
Like a
It
I
is
red
see
hot.
35 years.
vintage is anything over 30 years. So that's why the
Ah.
90s stuff is all vintage.
Okay, so there's a definition now. Anything over 30 years
It's
is
vintage.
vintage.
Really?
Yep.
So anything that if your music's from 30 something years ago, your car, then that's vintage. We're all vintage here, so
Yep. Like fine wine is what we are. So.
There you go.
Oh,
I,
there
I,
you
li- I
go,
like
there you
that.
go, there you
It gets
that's
better
the way to go. Except
every day, kid.
except my Luke, she doesn't look a day over 40, so
I appreciate
go.
that.
Yeah.
I do
I-
surprise people with how old I am. They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well,
I think she's.
I'll say this for those folks." And people will ask me my skincare routine, and if you want me to say that, tell you what it is, I'll drop it in.
well, tell us.
Tell us.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
But my grandmother said to me, "Don't let the old person in," and I have taken that to really heart about
Oh.
like the
There you
minute
go.
you think that you're old and you can't do something is, I mean, eventually you get to an age where you're physically
Yeah.
something might go wrong and that sort of thing. And I get that, but she said, "Don't let that old person in," and I've just carried that with me for a really long time. And and someone 2 summers ago told me that I have 27 summers left, and that really also left a really big impression on my head about like, well, if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? You
Yeah.
only have so much time. So I'm sorry for everybody out there for ruining. You're thinking about if you're our age or you're up there, that you only have so much time left.
That is
And,
true, though. That is very true.
when am I going to do this? When else am I was going to do the DJing stuff? If I didn't have a pandemic, though, I don't think I would have ever done this. And that was the gift that the pandemic gave me, was some time and space to do all of this.
There you go. There's no fountain of youth It's just doing what you love, and then there's it's no there's you're not old enough. You're not old to to do anything new. All right, so last segment of the show. This is Gus's. This is the probably what people are waiting for because we're waiting for their question.
Man,
Is
we need
this
more questions. We
no
need
dumb question?
Okay. Welcome to No Dumb Questions. I guess do we have some questions on the chat?
So no dumb question for everybody who's new here. You can drop your questions in the chat. All four of us, we're gonna try to answer it. If you don't have a question right now, I can start with our first question and see how our DJ is gonna answer it. This is the canned question right now I have for
Spicy.
everybody. Very spicy, right? There we go. I want Julia to actually answer this.
What's worse, a DJ that fakes their sets or a DJ with zero stage presence? My gut would say zero stage presence. I feel because I feel like you feed off the DJ in essence, and I mean some of the productions that are out there, I would be surprised if they're not pre-recorded, right? You have lights and lasers and pyro and CO2, and it is highly orchestrated, and that's a production.
Yeah.
And I don't, if you've gotten to a place where you have to map out everything, that you've done the freaking work, like then have a good
You did a
time.
job. Yeah.
The thing is though, hopefully you can maybe switch things on a fly if all of a sudden people, I guess you need to know your audience, right? If they're all just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, then you have a problem. But when you have a zero stage presence, I think that we're not at the stage where like it was back in the day where the DJ wasn't the thing that was the spotlight.
Yeah, you don't look at them, right?
Zero stage presence probably means that you don't put any energy into maybe your sets either. That's what the assumption I'm making. So that's where
How about you, Gus? I think I know what your answer is, but what?
I guess it's zero stage present too, right? I guess that's the same thing, right? I mean, you can always, I mean, if a DJ can fake themselves out of a set, then that's really great, then, right? Yep.
How do you fake the set though? To Boyd's point, what's faking a set look like? No, I'm not a DJ, so I'm asking you guys.
For me, it's pre-recorded.
Oh, pre-recorded. Okay, so
Yeah.
now that leads me to that one question though.
It's on the one side of faking it, right? Like it's on the one side where you're not live mixing, where things can go horribly wrong.
So there's been talk about pre-recorded sets on Twitch. What can you say about that? Because some of the peers say, it's pre-recorded. And how do you even know? I mean, what's your take there?
I don't know. I think you should be transparent if it's pre-recorded and you put it up and say it's a pre-recorded set and you let people stay if they want. And if they don't want to stay, they leave. I mean, I think that's the best thing about Twitch is if you don't like what I'm playing, you're going to go to another channel. I'm not going to take it personally.
What if they still like try to move their hands and everything and say not acknowledging it? You think that's that's?
I think that's more about not being authentic, and that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. Now the only
Mr.
thing is
Coops,
that you're doing already the work by doing those things. So why not just do it? Like
You can see
Mr.
him.
Coops, is there anyone in particular that you know?
No, well, I heard about rumors, but I'm not gonna say it here. I'm just sure, just, but
The rumors, they're not verified.
they're
we
not
don't know.
verified because
Yeah.
we also don't know. But again, I guess I get what Julia is saying about just let people know that I'm playing
Mm.
a pre-recorded set, or but there's also this about what God is saying. It's the same thing as what's worse. DJ fix it. DJ they're already doing it, right? That's work itself for me already. So kudos to them. But I guess there should be a balance, right?
I get why they fake it. Okay, so if you're a touring DJ, I'm not gonna offend. I hate fake sets and pre-recorded sets, and a lot of the top 50 from the DJ Mag list do have or do prepare pre-recorded sets, but I hate it. But to that point, to the other point, why they do it? Because they're touring and they go from 1 to 3 venues in one night, and then they do it again the next night, and then they fly to somewhere else, and then they will do it. That's why they do it.
So you're against with somebody doing it on Twitch?
I am against, but I know why they do it, because their schedule is so packed that they go from one to the other. Well, James Hype wouldn't do that, because I know he doesn't do that. His schedule is as packed as anyone, but he's not going to do a pre-recorded set. But exactly why they do it is because their bookings are so close together. They're so tired. They have no time. But then you're right. Gus is right. They still have to be on the booth there and dancing to the music and hyping up the crowd, twisting knobs and stuff like that. I remember one of the festivals back in the day, there was video and they showed the back of the mixer and there was no connections at all. And people were like, wow, the wireless DJing is here.
Yeah, but how do you qualify though a zero stage presence? Because people that person might be moving, right? Zero stage presence doesn't mean it's just stands there, right?
And their styles too. Like there's some DJs who are so just focused on what they're doing that kind of energy alone, you would think, wow, this guy is the god. He is doing stuff on his equipment that's moving the crowd, and he's not even dancing. And there's also DJs who are hyper energetic on the stage. Right. They also have stage presence. So it really depends on who you're listening to and who the crowd is.
Mm-hmm. And knowing your audience, right? It's really about knowing your audience.
I think that's key. Yeah, because for I think the hardest part of you guys, well, what you guys are doing is reading people in front of you, right? It's like public speaking, right? I do a lot of talks on conferences also. That's hard, and you did it too, Julia. You know what? It's so hard when you look at that, and then I don't know if that person is bored or whatever what you're saying. It's so hard to kind of change it. You have your script in front of you, and nothing's. You think nothing is working, but sometimes I just don't want to see the audience and just do what I have to do, and that's hard for you DJs also. I think that's the most important part of what you're doing.
But think about it, it's like a classroom too, right? You want
a teacher. Yeah,
I don't want a teacher lecturing at me. I want a teacher designing learning experiences so that maybe I'm working in a small group, and I think a great conference presentation actually is you're not really even presenting. You're just maybe presenting a concept and then giving them something to noodle on, and then they kind of work with a pair, or they work on their own, or they work in a larger group, and they come back with things as well. Sometimes it's knowledge imparting, but a lot of it can be a really an active learning kind of thing. And then thinking about Twitch, what are we doing in our streams to get people to be silly about stuff or whatever? I mean, I know I have an emote called lick because I'm an old IRCer, so I always would joke around like /me licks whoever.
Lick everybody.
Yeah, I just lick everybody, right? But now I have a command. So if you want to lick somebody in my stream, you can lick somebody and it'll rate how much you're lickable and all that kind of stuff. But that's just a fun thing, right? That's just a fun offshoot. And people can engage in the chat on their own. I don't necessarily have to always talk. I'm actually one of those people that prefers not to be on the mic, but then I do listen to folks that say people want you on the mic. So I might have to come up with a different night where I don't do mics at all, and then I do a mic night. You know what I mean? Like, and then it can balance it both. I just want to zone out and do my thing. Nice. But that's not what Twitch is all about. So.
That's true though. I mean, we started also with no mic, and we were advised to do some mic stuff, but with Grace do mics right now, but still same as you, try to keep it in the minimal. I can talk for a long time. That's me, but I can't to save my life. I can't mix. They're pushing me to do it, but now that's
you can.
Yeah, but it's different, right? I love doing this, right? And same with what Julie said. I think this is what the show's about. The show actually, one thing we found out about the show is we started with a script and then we abandoned it after half of episode 1. Like, this is now freaking working.
Not
You
gonna work.
know, I feel like I'm a robot, like trying to impress people. What the? Yeah, it is me. This is where we are, and then we're gonna do whatever we want, and whatever we like, and then get the content that from our
We
guests like you.
we let the guests drive the show wherever they want to go, and when
Mhm.
we pick up on their story, and then we go from there.
And it's really interesting, like, Julia, what you brought into the show is like a different take on a lot of different stuff, like education, right?
Yeah.
How learning itself, right? I think that's the biggest I think that's the biggest lesson we learned today is that you can't stop learning, and learning is important, with whether it's DJing, you're teaching, and everything that's been going on. It's great. All right, so that's the first question. I'm still asking the audience. There's a
Gus,
question.
you have
Yep.
there's a question.
No, I have a good one here. So let's be honest, right? So do requests actually annoys DJ, or do you secretly like them? I guess. Julia, you can go ahead on your IRL gig or in Twitch.
I am not a requester. Like, I feel that a DJ should be able to be trusted to do their job. I'm a horrible wedding guest, and this is where I think all along, I think there were signs that I was going to be a DJ my entire life, but I would be at a wedding with my, former husband, and we'd be out there. I'm like, the DJ needs to change the song because it's time to change the, you know what I mean? Like, you could just tell the vibe thing, but I would never have gone up to a DJ and said, I need you to play Celebration or whatever they're playing at the wedding. Well, one, it's also like, if it's not my party, why? I don't know what the person that's hosting it can
Yeah.
do that. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like it's a little bit rude in essence. You know what I mean? But I don't want to say it's like, oh, you suck because you request something, because people might want to do that. But I personally don't want to take requests. I just want to be able to do what I am going to do and that sort of thing. Not to say that somebody can't throw something in there and be like, well, let's see if I have it and I can mix it in. But that's not necessarily a request per se. It might be like,
I know why you ask it, Gus. I think
Why?
you secretly like it.
Me?
Ah, yeah.
He
No,
gets
just-
approached a lot.
No. I'm Pat's was that backup when it comes to requesting. He's
Yeah,
like,
Gus and I play. We used to play high school gigs. So when it's my set, we go 90 minutes each. When it's my turn, he knows what to do. Gus would be by the stairs and blocking people from. We came up with the system too.
yeah.
During the last couple of years, we do this. We have a notebook with a pen, and we just let the kids write their requests. But yeah, to Virgil's point, if we're out on like a bar type of gig or a beer garden type of gig, if there's no tip, I don't want to give it away. I'm not gonna play your song.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, they're gonna tip you because they like your music. Now they're gonna tip you because they played your request, right?
Eh,
Okay.
we had an encounter with a customer who wanted to change up the genre, and it was supposed to be
House. It's
a
house,
house
right?
dance music night,
Yeah.
and this certain person wanted to change it up to hip hop. So and she
in the
was
middle,
upset at.
like in the middle of the whole thing, like didn't communicate.
Yeah, it was
that.
advertised as a house,
house,
music night. Yeah,
And he wants to
And
do hip hop. You
he
should
wants
point
to
them
do
to the
hip hop.
freaking flyer, like or whatever's in the front, right? Hey, house.
This was
I got-
Halloween, and it's we.
Did you?
I
Did
got
you?
flack though from when I got married, our reception. I told our DJ all the songs I did not want to hear. So to the point where my aunt came up to me and she's like, "They won't play We Are Family." And I'm like, "Because it's on the banned list. It's off the list. I don't want to
It's
hear it."
banned.
But also at that time in my life, and this was 2000, 2001, I had been going to so many weddings because all of my friends were getting married, right? So it was just like, I don't want to hear these songs anymore. I can't hear them. I've already been to so many weddings this year. I'm done with Celebration and Family, We Are Family, and all the other stuff. Like, cut it out.
Oh my
So-
god, yeah. And then what's the famous like Sweet Carolines, all those are like probably top 5. What you you guys have just said right now.
Yep.
There's a few DJs nowadays who cater to the dance music crowd. They don't play none of the wedding stuff songs. They just bring in the club music type of atmosphere. And obviously some, couples, this is what they want for their wedding, and that's a thing too nowadays.
I need to get on that circuit because that would be the
You
circuit that
need
I would
to.
want to be on.
Yeah.
That's how I'll
Not the
play a
We Are
wedding.
not the We
I
Are
get-
Family circuit.
Yeah, I guess you have to respect what the couple wants, right? But that's also hard because you got different people in the wedding, right? So not that I'm against it. It's just saying somebody wants to do a line dancing, right? It's no line dancing. That's somebody just said electric slide here or Macarena. It's
The
crazy.
chicken dance. That's the other one that people want to do, the chicken dance.
On the wedding.
Yeah, because everybody gets into it.
I just played that the other Friday.
See, I told you. I think you like a request.
Hey,
You
if a
secretly like-
5-year-old kid requests you something, I mean, you need to play that. Come on.
a 5-year-old kid, no, that
I just keep telling folks that I'm just not going to be a wedding DJ, so that's not my genre.
Uh-huh.
My goal is actually to be a good club opener, and everybody's like, "Well, why can't you go up?" I think that if you want to be up the headliners, you have to produce music, and I don't know if that's an area that I'm going to go into. But a good opener, a good local support opener, they can be in bed by 12 o'clock if you don't want to stay for the headliner. So that for me, I'm thinking about stuff like I could do a 10 to 11, a 10 to 12, and if I don't want to stay for the headliner, I'm like, peace out. I've done my job.
I can't. Do
Right.
that
But I
anymore.
can also play all my eclectic music because I don't try to play. I mean, occasionally I play what's popular, but I really do try to play stuff that's not popular. Right. Like it's just whatever's caught my eye recently. And I'm hoping that will get me a reputation to be a good
Being home at 11 is the best, but
Yeah.
the work of a opener, a warm-up DJ is the toughest. It's the crowds are thin. The songs can't be the bangers or the songs of the headliners.
You can't play what they're
gotta
gonna
create,
play. Yeah.
and you got to make money for the club. You got to get the people buying drinks. So it's the toughest part of the night. And good luck. I mean, let us know when you get that gig.
I will.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
There you go. Actually, that comes up on that one question before I go to Nutmeg and Spice. There's one question here. What are your long-term goals for DJing on Twitch? So, I guess Infected Underground, is this long-term goals on Twitch or just DJing? Well, let's do both, right? What's your
It's
long-term
on
goal?
Twitch.
Twitch.
Twitch is probably growing my community. It's funny. Once I hit 1,000 followers, I feel like the algorithm just switched up. And it's much easier now to get more followers. It was like that slog between 750 and 999.
That's the longest
some
one.
programmer did 999, and that was the thing. And it was
The
like,
max.
God damn it, am I going to break through this wall? So growing that. And then I think is getting a little bit more intentional about my sets. So my decompression sessions are literally stuff I've pulled, and sometimes I haven't mixed it. And sometimes I do a kill or keep kind of session, right? Like this has 0 counts. Should we play it? Does it sound good? If it sucks, I'm going to kill it out of my collection because it's growing. But I think it's just being a lot more intentional about the vibe and telling that story. I keep seeing these little things on Instagram and stuff, like a good DJ can mix, but a great DJ tells a story. And how do I tell that story? And how do I think about mixing? And for me, I feel like I'm a good solid basics, right? But then how do I stretch myself? Because it's a little more scary now because I'm established, right? It'd be a little different if I was starting out again, where I'm just going to smush things together and see what happens. The risk is a little bit higher to do that live. But I have to tell you, DJ B-Luke loves to come in and give me quests. I call them on the fly. He's like, all right, today use an FX that you don't normally use. And here's Julia trying to use Spiral all of a sudden, right in the middle of a set.
Love it.
Yeah, just kind of keep pushing those skills. I want to get really confident on that CDJ-1000s, where I'm not, like the 1000, I know like the back of my hand. I could have a sandwich, between songs now because I know it so well. But the CDJs, I'm not quite as comfortable. It's like learning how to drive a stick shift, I guess, right? Now that's dating ourselves right there. But I learned how to drive a stick shift. Now I can do it without thinking about it. But when you first learn, you're constantly thinking about, how you're doing it and are you going to burn a gear?
How big is the difference between the Off-White and the 1000s and the 3000s? I mean, I thought they're kind of the same setup.
They're club setup. They're like the club standard setup. The thing with the 3000, they move a few of the things around. So, but I'm sure, Julia, you'll be able to adjust.
Yeah, it's all. So I always joke around, like everybody goes like, "What's the difference between controllers?" For the non-DJ people, I'm like, well, the bigger you go, the more of the buttons are on the deck versus in the software, right? So that's
exactly.
At 3000, everything is on the equipment, but then it's like, okay, where is that button that I used on the 1000 because it's over here? But
if you're talking about the mixer, it's almost exactly the same.
The mixer is almost the same. There's a lot more you can do on the mixer though. On the A9, I have an A9 mixer
More
than you
powerful.
can on the 1000, right?
Right.
There's just, I mean, not that you're going to be James Hype. I don't expect to be James Hype, but you can definitely do a lot more manipulation on the actual mixer than you can in the software. And I don't even use Rekordbox, right? I'm using USBs and everything's linked. I feel like an old IT person, like digging under an Ethernetting. I had to find Ethernet cable that was long enough to plug into stuff. Got rid of that a long time ago, but I had to order it. But yeah, it's just, it's being able to go into a club and plug in, right? And not have to learn something on the fly. In essence, that's why I also bought them because they were 0% financing, and that was a seduction right there.
Oh,
I could do.
Justify the cost. Oh, 0%.
Yeah, 0%.
Here's a tip, though. I think the best way to transport songs is SD cards, the professional ones.
Yeah,
but it's easier to lose, though. That's
well.
the USB stick would be there.
It has a slot.
She's using it, so she just showed us.
No, this is for I have one, but I have
and there you go.
But I also have it. The nice thing about the 3000s though is I can plug right into the the network, and I can be on Beatport right there. The only thing is I have to have my Beatport playlist queued and everything else.
Right.
So it goes back to that admin process where when you hit a hot queue, is this the place that's the master so that you don't have to go back and do it again 14 times? Or is this, where are you in the process, right? So, and then, or take your USB, plug it back in, make sure you go into Rekordbox so that it propagates.
So the workflow has to be,
it's just got to be dialed in.
You can't confuse, you're going on a 3000 this weekend. That's it. That's the focus. You can't confuse it with your workflow with the 1000.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Well, I mean, you guys are making me think. I know Grace doesn't want it because it's too expensive on my pull.
0% free money.
0%. Oh,
it was 0% for 3 years. This is that was the deal. And I was like,
look, we're saving money. That's what it is.
And the thing is, like, if you live in New York or LA, Pirate Studios, like anytime I had a meeting in New York, I would, because of jet lag, I'd land at 4. Nobody wanted to go out to dinner late with me. And I'd end up in Pirate Studios from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. because I'm not sleeping because I'm jet lagged. And for $25 an hour, I'm on DDJ-1000s, right? And I can get practice. There's nothing like that around. Right. So I had to buy them. If I'm going to learn how to be a club DJ, I need to have club DJ equipment. Is what I told my, and Technocat. I blame her as well because she's the one that kind of kicked me and says you should just go do it. Especially when the financing came up.
I knew it. It was you. Bad influence.
I don't know if it was a bad influence. I think it was more she knew where I want to go. And
no, I'm kidding.
It's going there. So
it's the tool. You need a tool to do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got it.
Oh, you guys convinced me. Okay, you pulled me over. No, I can't. I can't just pull the trigger.
Don't before aluminum prices go up.
That's true. That's true. All right. Any other questions? I know there's one.
I think Nutmeg has one.
It's a very serious question. I know Nutmeg and Spice. If nobody, she's our resident. No dumb question. Ask her. What's that right? Yeah. What is a compliment someone gave you? Oh, this is deep. What is a compliment someone gave you that you still think about? Jesus Christ, Nutmeg and Spice, you're killing us.
She has the toughest questions too that you have
Uh,
to think about.
uh, uh, as a guest, you start with this one, Julia. This
So
is tough.
this is an interesting one. One thing I think about it. So the role that I'm in right now, running my org, I've never done it before, right? It's my first time being an executive director of a nonprofit. Like I've never done it before. Like it's not my wheelhouse. And one of our sister organizations, who's been in his role for many, many, many years, actually said to me, and he's known, and I've been part of the leadership, like I sat on the board as a member, you know what I mean? So like I said, I've been with this organization 21 years, but 4 years as staff. He literally said to me about 2 years into the job, where I'm still thinking like I'm just not frailing about, but there's just a lot to learn and trying to figure out how to run it as a business and all that good stuff, where he said, I've seen a lot of EDs in the history of your organization, and you seem to be the one that has the right set of skills in order to pull it forward. And I was like, oh, he sees something there. And that's always been the thing. It's almost like DJB Luke. I've had people in my life that have seen something, and that's given me a little bit more confidence to maybe step out and try it. So I appreciate those types of people in my life, especially I think about that as a compliment. That was a huge compliment coming from him. He's somebody that's well known in our space. And that made me feel like, okay, I'm doing something right. I took this chance, I took a risk, and I'm going forward. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. How about you, Gus?
I'm
This is
not
a tough
sure.
one.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this is a compliment or it's an advice, but so just recently, I guess last week, right? So was that I'm training someone like in the team, right? And then she just said that why do you always reply to email? Right? Because I said, because I know the answer, but you're not supposed to reply on all emails, even if you know the answer. I said, but what do I do? No one's gonna answer there. I don't know. But it's like being knowledgeable sometimes is good, but you can't answer everything, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I like that.
It's Gus for you, knowledgeable
that's
Gus.
knowledgeable Gus. How about you, DJ Pat? I'm gonna go last.
I don't know. Maybe DJ related. I like it when people recognize what you play and the type of music you play. Gus and I, we live in a sort of rural place where country is king and hip hop is second, and the wedding songs rule the radio stations. So if we play outside or anywhere and people recognize our music, then they come to us and give us compliment, and that's that makes our night really, and we look forward to that.
Nice.
It's taste making, you try to taste make in your town.
All right.
And I didn't know that George Clinton is not country. I was thinking of another George Clinton. I guess.
That's it. Well,
You profiled
so
the name.
we're
Yeah.
gonna do this last question. I know people are asking. I think Jay Neal asked. I know Ilog already answered, but Ilog, for the last question, could you tell us why Ilog before we close the show?
Yeah. So it's a completely made up user ID. Growing up, I was Julia Gulia or Jules. And before The Wedding Singer, for those of you that are familiar with The Wedding Singer, I had it before The Wedding Singer. We had a good laugh during that movie though, because when that happened. But and I work in IT, and sometimes when you're stuck, you write things backwards. And for some reason, I wrote Gulia backwards as a user ID. And then when I started gaming, and I'm an old World of Warcrafter, I spent
Wow.
12
You
years
are.
playing that game back in the day, before children,
server?
of course. I have to say this, before children, because once children come on the scene, as a female gamer, it's much harder than my male counterparts that have kids to raid and do some, dungeon runs and everything else, because when they're smaller.
Talking about going in time. Wow.
Yeah, so World of Warcrafter. So I think I'm the only A-Lug actually in World of Warcraft. If you look up the armory, I think I'm the only one. You'll see my little gnome mage stuck in like level 78 or whatever she's stuck at. But It's basically Gulia backwards. So you can call it Alug, which people joke around like AI, Lug, or whatever, or Ilug, people have pronounced it, but basically it's just Gulia backwards. And that's my DJ name.
And with a little bit of
Yeah.
MMORPG. Oh my god, that just brought back time for me too.
She was an all arcane mage. I just want you to know that, which is also a little bit even more rare. So I spec'd her out to be all arcane.
I'm the only Koopsu on World of Warcraft, and that was back then. So I have that handle for a longest time. I put a Mister after a while, but Koops is my handle ever since that day.
Let me guess, you're hunter. No?
No, I'm not a hunter.
I can
What?
see him as a healer.
I am a healer.
Wow.
I
Okay.
am a healer. Because the thing about healer is you can still fight with a healer, right? But you got all this what do you call it? Like artifacts or what do you
Spells.
call it? Yeah, it's spells that you can cast. The healer are probably the best warriors when you get them to that level. See,
Try
all right.
playing what's that? Marvel Legends now. They
No, I'm
need some
not.
healer.
I can't do gaming anymore. I can't. I don't have time.
Twitch.
Yeah. Speaking of time, it's that about time. Ilog, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have fun with the guys next door. And can you tell everybody in the chat, promote your show, what are you doing, what are your next IRL gig? You have the stage.
So I joke around. I'm a Friday night streamer. So I stream on Friday nights at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, pretty religiously. But you can find me on Instagram at Alug PNW. I usually post there when I'm not going to stream, so that you know that I'm off doing a show, or meaning that I'm catching a show or whatnot. I'm trying to think. In real life, I don't have anything that's public. The cool thing about the conference, though, that I am doing in April is I actually will be at the Sky Church at MPOP. So those of you that are familiar with Seattle, I'm at a really super fantastic venue. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping to get some video of all of that and everything. So that'll be my next, I guess, in real life gig, unless I book something between now and April 2nd. So we'll see. This journey has been super magical, and I'm super excited about it. So hope to see some of you in my stream on Fridays.
Absolutely. NBHD is happy for you. And good luck on all your gigs, Twitch and IRL. And thank you again for joining us. And I hope you have fun.
Yeah, I definitely did. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. Thanks, everybody. This is we're saying goodbye now. Thank you, everyone. This is the guys next door. I hope you had a great time learning about new stuff on Twitch and outside of Twitch. This is the guys next door, where the talk is cheap and the laughs are priced. Thank you, everybody. Boy G, let's rate to Marquesa, please. Thank you.
That's Ilug. Follow her.
Follow her. There's Ilug. Thank you, Ilug.
Thank you.
I'll never compromise, and now I realize I've tried 1,000 tries, and there may be other guys. I've tried 1,000 tries.